Hi everyone. We are making pizza today. We're gonna make just the dough today, and then on Thursday we will be making the sauce and putting everything together and baking. Oh, look who I have in the background, Miss Lisa. All right, so the ingredients that you'll need today, we're gonna need yeast. So yeast will come a couple different ways. You can buy it in packets like this, or you could also buy it in a jar. I am going to use the jar today. So it calls for 1 packet of nutritional of yeast, or you can use 2.5 teaspoons of yeast in the jar. So to our yeast, we're also going to need sugar. We'll need 1 teaspoon of sugar. You will need 1 cup of warm water. So you need your wet measuring cup for your water. And then flour. We'll need 2.5 cups of flour, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, or you could use avocado oil, you could use vegetable oil, so whatever oil you have at home, use it. Don't go out and get some new oil. And then salt. We'll just need 1 teaspoon of salt. So the way we're going to do this, first we're going to prep our yeast. So in your wet measuring cup, you are going to add in either your packet of yeast, or you could add in, like I said, 2.5 teaspoons of yeast. So I'm going to measure out 2.5 teaspoons. And there's my half. And to that, I'm going to use my sugar. It calls for 1 teaspoon of sugar. Now the sugar is what's going to activate our yeast. So our yeast is actually dormant until we activate it. So between the warm water that we're using and the sugar, it's going to activate the yeast and make our dough rise. Okay. So now to this, I'm going to add my 2 tablespoons of olive oil. You can add it in later if you want, but I just added it all now so I don't forget about it later. So 2 tablespoons of avocado oil, and I'm just going to stir that with a fork until everything's kind of incorporated there. So you want that to set for about 5 to 10 minutes. So while that's setting, you can go ahead and measure out your flour and your salt mixture. This is what you want your mixture to look like when it's done. It starts to get nice and foamy, and that's what it looks like when it's activated. Again, that's from the warm water and the sugar. This is what it looks like when you first start, and then as it sets, it'll get nice and foamy like that. All right, so this is ready to go. So what I'm going to do now is add in my flour into my mixing bowl. So I need kind of a large bowl so that you have enough room to get your hands in there and mix. We're going to add 2.5 cups of flour. So first, remember we use a small measuring cup to measure into the larger. So I'm going to use my half cup. Okay, we're back. Hold on. So I'm going to add my flour. Sorry about that. The video went out for a second, but we're back. I'm adding my flour, and I'm going to tap that down and measure so it's level. Remember, we have to be exact when we're measuring and baking. So that's 1 cup. Here is my 2nd cup. And then now I need a 1/2 cup. So just lightly, don't ever pack your flour in. You just want to scoop and then level, okay? Don't pack in with another cup and make it nice and tight. That'll throw off your recipe. So 2.5 cups of flour and 1 teaspoon of salt. So not very many ingredients will go into making just the dough. And we're going to kind of mix that around a little bit. And here we go. I'm going to add in my mixture. I'm going to make kind of a little hole in the middle there and pour my mixture into that. And now I'm going to knead. So I'm going to put everything together by mixing with my hands here. And if you don't like to get your hands dirty, don't like the feeling of this, then use a pair of gloves. So mixing around, so I'm incorporating everything. So once it's all incorporated, you can put a little bit of flour on the table, and you can continue to mix on the table. So now that I have everything together, I'm just kind of scooping this around. And it should form into a ball, kind of like this. I'm going to take a little bit of my flour here and put it on the table, kind of spread it out, and I'm going to keep kneading. So when I knead, I'm using the palm of my hand and I'm kind of turning the dough and I'm pushing. You can use two hands or you can use just one hand and keep turning with one. I like to use both of them and just really get in there and knead my dough until everything is nice and incorporated and you're getting all the air out. Once you've done that for, I don't know, a couple minutes, you're going to then put a little bit of olive oil back into the bowl that we originally used to mix our flour mixture and yeast together, and we're going to let it sit for about an hour or two to let it rise. So this is my dough that's nice and kneaded, and I'm going to place a little bit of my avocado oil back into my bowl. I'm going to rub that around in my bowl. I'm going to toss my dough in there to kind of put that in there a little bit. I'm going to cover this with a little bit of saran wrap and a towel. And then I'm going to put it to bed for about an hour or two, and we will be back and I'll show you how to roll out the dough and make your sauce, get this in the oven, and we'll see you back on Thursday for the rest of our pizza. Until then, have a great day. See you guys.